Hey guys, welcome back to Chalkboard tutorial. So in this episode, we're going to be studying corporate bonds and what they're made up of or what their characteristics are. Now, key thing to note, although companies are more reliant on short-term bank borrowing and retain profits for financing operations, longer-term finance is usually obtained by issuing bonds in the market. Now, for domestic bonds, the bonds are secured on either the company's assets by way of something known as a fixed charge, which is a legal charge, or think of it as a mortgage, right? And all a fixed charge is quite simply a charge is specifically placed on either one or more of the company's fixed or permanent assets. So there's two ways in which corporate bonds are secured. So the first one is fixed, which, as I said, is fixed on the company's permanent assets. And the second one is something known as a floating charge. So floating charge. So we have fixed charge and we have floating charge. Now, floating charge places a more general charge on the assets that sort of flow in and through the business. And this could include things like issuing company stock in trade or things that are constantly changing and quite opposed to, like the name suggests, floating assets rather than fixed charges, which are based on permanent assets. So changing. Right. So now, in many cases, a corporate bond tends to have something known as a call provision. So call provision, and what that is it provides the issuer to buy back all or part of the issue before maturity, and this is attractive to whoever's issuing the bond because the bond can be refinanced. Say when the interest rates are lower than the rate that's being paid on the bond, they can use that as an opportunity to refinance the bond. So interest rates are lowered, and when interest rates drop, it makes sense to refinance the bond. Now, if this happens, something to keep in mind is the investor, the person who's putting forward the money, might demand for something known as a higher yield, and that's given back as compensation. So the investor most probably would, in exchange, ask for a higher yield. Now, some bonds have something that's known as put provisions, or they issued put provisions. What these are is quite simply they give whoever holds the bond the right to require the issuer to redeem early. So, on a set date or between specific dates, the bondholder has the right to require the issuer to redeem early. Now, what makes this particularly attractive, especially to the borrowers, is that it improves the marketability of the bond when first issued. So think of it this way, right? Whoever's issuing the bond, it increases the risk of refinancing the bond at an unplanned or unexpected time when the rates can be higher.